Earfun's got a new affordable model called the Air 2, and they take some of the features that we're seeing with their more premium Pro models, and that is LDAC support with this. So we get that higher bitrate codec. It's about 3 times more than SBC, and it's really great at just getting the absolute best out of your audio when you're listening to these with their 10mm wool composite drivers they have. And because of LDAC, it removes that terrible compression you often get with SBC when it comes to highs. It's quite noticeable. And they've got a runtime of 9 hours on a single charge. That's just using the SBC codec, not LDAC, by the way, which tends to half the battery life. And from the case, you get 31, so 40 hours in total. They have an IPX7 sweat and dust-proof rating to them, so there's no problem wearing these if you're going to be training. And because of their stem design to them, I found the fit to be very comfortable. They don't come out on me, and we have 4 microphones in total. So each earbud has 2 microphones, one that is dedicated to noise cancelling, the other for the pickup of our voice. And what does Earfun include? So we have right here our Type-C to Type-A cable for charging, and it takes about an hour to charge them, to charge the earbuds, and they do give us some spare tips. So we have some extra smalls, large, and extra large tips there. The mediums, they are already on the Air 2s. There's this here about cleaning the charging contacts, the ear tips, and the mesh. They give you a little Q-tip thing for that, and there is a user manual. So I do like the case size. It's nice and small, and the weight of them is very good. So it's just a total of 46 grams, your travel weight here with our Air 2s. They support wireless charging, the case, and the other thing is it will fit in that little small jeans pocket. I did test that out, so good to see that it's nice and compact, the case. Build quality is very good, what I've come to expect from Earfuns. There is a status LED here on the front, and that lets you know the charge left in the case. And you'll see that they sit in there nicely, and with the stem style design, you've got the stem that goes in first. There's pogo port pins in the bottom there of the case that do charge them, and there's some status LEDs. Now, along the bottom here, you'll see, it's a little hard to see, but there's a pairing button right here, and that's because we do have a multi-point support with this. So you can pair these up to another device, and you can just go through the application to manage that. That's our Type-C port there. And nice, so it's this matte plastic they have used here. The finish of it is good, and you get the Earfun branding there on the back. And the lid, it does stay closed, so if you give that a shake, nothing actually rattles either, so they're not annoying in that regard. I do hate it when I get some earbuds and they rattle around in the case, but that is not the case here with the Air 2s. So the big draw card for these is the fact that they do support the LDAC codec. So that is using a bitrate that is 3 times more than SBC. It removes the compression, just makes them sound really nice and clear. You notice it especially with the high notes, the high frequencies that don't have that terrible compression where you can hear it sometimes breaking up. Completely removes that. However, it does come at the cost of battery life. It basically halves the battery life. So you're looking at a playtime here, if you're just going to be running them in LDAC, of about 5 hours, just over, so around 5.5 hours. However, if you don't use the LDAC codec, which I'll show you how to set that up and turn it on via the application shortly, then you get 9 hours. So you get 9 hours on a single charge, 40 from the case, and if you're using LDAC, then that's 23 with the case. So good design to them. We've got glossy plastic just in the inside here. On the outside here, we have our capacitive touch controls. There is a mic here. Those are the pogo port pin connectors. And there's another mic here too for the noise cancellation for calls, but there is no active noise cancellation with these earbuds themselves. So if you want that, you need to go for their Pro model, which is a little bit more expensive. So price-wise, these sell for about $49.99 US, which I think is a decent price actually because of the LDAC support, the way they do sound. So composite wool driver inside here that is 10 millimeters, and you see that you've got a little mesh there inside, and the silicone tips are very good, high quality ones. After wearing these now for a week, they have not softened up. I've given them a bit of a clean before showing them on video here too as well, but they haven't gone all soft, and they're nice and firm, sit on there really well, got no risk of these coming off. You can just see that status LED there at the top too. So there is, of course, an application like you'd find with any good set of earbuds, and it's called Earfun Audio. And once you do go into it, you don't need to register or log in. You can just skip that whole process and just go straight in. You can see our battery life of the case and both of our earbuds, left and right. You've got the gamer mode that you can turn on, so that reduces it down to 55, under 55 milliseconds, which is very good for not just gaming, but also video. You want to turn that on for video, and that means you don't really notice any delay at all. I haven't really seen anything. You have their own equalizer here, so default sound, preset, and custom too. So you can go along and change all the different frequency bands there, which is very handy to have that option. Customize your controls. So there's a lot of other brands out there that don't even have this option, and it's really good to see that you can go and change this. So if you don't want voice assistant for long press, maybe you never use that, well, you can use it for, say, volume up, because we've already got volume down for tap once, and this is for the left, and you can go along and customize the right too as well. So I probably wouldn't use that. I would probably set it to something else, and you can see all the different options. I could set it to long press to be game mode. That would probably be a little bit more handy, I think, to have that. Well, for myself at least. So under settings, you will find their tutorial, how to wear them, their own equalizer that I showed you before, but this is the important one, Bluetooth audio quality. So you do want to go into this, and you can see here that I've got it in stable connection first. So that's just using the default codec, SBC or AAC if you're using Apple too. So you can set this here to then LDAC. Now LDAC's only going to be working with Android. You don't get that with Apple devices here, and you need to have a relatively modern phone. Somewhere from, I believe it's about Snapdragon 855 or 860 onwards that started to support that. It depends on the phone too as well, but I get it here with my Galaxy S23 Ultra, and you can turn that on. So that enables the, 3 times bit rate, so you don't get that compression as I was talking about with the highs. You really just notice it opens them right up. You don't get that horrible noise coming through from that, and it just makes it a lot more crisper, those highs. So the gaming mode that I talked about before, you've got microphone settings. So you can use these just as mono, so just have one in your ear, put the other one in the case. You can use them just to handle calls. A lot of people seem to do that. And then you do have your dual device connection as well, so you can set that up and you can run 2 different devices and swap between them. So good application. It's got straightforward settings in there that you'd want. It's very easy to use, and I love the fact that you don't have to log in or register. You can just skip that. More importantly is, how do they sound? So very good. Now using the medium tips, I get a very good seal with mediums normally, and it's the same case with these Earfun Air 2s. So you get a good seal, but you don't have any active noise cancellation at all. And for some people, that might actually be a good thing, because with active noise cancellation, you sometimes get that very, very minor white noise you hear, that like hiss. You don't get it with these, with that being off. You get some passive isolation from them, of course. Now, bass is very good. Out of the box, I found the experience to be good. There's no clipping. The bass isn't overly powerful, but I will say that it is boosted up a bit. They've definitely tweaked up those lows. Mids sound very good. Vocals are excellent, really clean. And then those highs, they're detailed, they're crisp without being overly sharp. So a big thumbs up for the tune of these. They sound fantastic, really good. Like pretty much all the Earfun stuff that I've been reviewing lately, really nice the way they sound. So there's 10mm composite wheel drivers that they have within them. They're doing their job there. They really do put out the bass. I would personally just turn it down a little, but really I think most people are going to be very happy with them. So people that love bass, got it. The highs, the mids, and the top end volume is not bad at all with these. So great there. Now I have been watching a little bit of streaming content. This here is an episode of Black Summer, and it's in sync with the actors' mouths, which is good. And that's using the gaming mode. I recommend you turn that on, even for streaming video. With it off, do you notice a delay? Well, maybe sometimes, but with it on, it's perfectly watchable, looks good, it's fine. Gaming is the only area where you can tell that the latency sometimes is just a little bit out by a split second, but with the gaming mode on, I think it's fine. Very good to have this option. Microphone sample now with the Air 2s from Earfun. So they do have 4 microphones in total. You've got one that's used for our main mic for the calls for your voice, and then the other is to combat noise. So I have a little bit of background noise at the moment. I've got a fan on and I've played an ambient track with YouTube, and it's doing a very good job of blocking that out. You can hear the call quality is, I'd rate as average. It's a tiny bit muffled. It could be a little bit better. Now these are really comfortable to wear because of the stem design. I do prefer this. I think it's the best design. Not only do you get that microphone a little closer, but the stem is there and it's kind of against your ear here, so it's supporting it, and I find that I've got no problems with these dropping out. They haven't fallen out on me once, and of course when you pull them out, they pair up straight away, and you can use just one of them if you want. Now we get some passive noise isolation that I talked about just because of the seal of the silicon tips, but there's no active noise cancelling, so I can still just hear some things around me, the surroundings. It's pretty standard there. And these being a more affordable model here, it's understandable they had to cut something, giving us, of course, that LDAC support. So the LDAC support, if you're going to use that codec, it's well worth it, but of course, make sure you have some really good files. And I recommend you've got some like FLAC files, high bitrate ones, or MP3s that are well over 320 kilobits per second with their bitrate. It's no point having, say, 96 kilobit per second MP3 files or streaming or something like that and try and use LDAC, because it's going to make no difference there if your source material is low quality anyway. But when you've got the high quality stuff, you really notice it in the highs. The compression is just all removed there. You don't get that issue with compression that you have using SBC. But then you've got that alternative of using the older codec to fall back on if you want that really good battery life, because LDAC, well, you're getting around 5 hours of runtime instead of about 9. So it really does cut that almost in half, the runtime there. So great case size. It does support wireless charging, and charge time's about 2 hours for the earbuds and the case itself if it's completely flat, both of them, which is pretty standard there. And overall very good quality, and the sound of them excellent. So deep, powerful bass without being over the top, completely over the top like some earbuds. Mids sound good, vocals are great, highs are detailed, especially again if you do use the LDAC codec. Now they do have that IPX sweat rating, sweat proof, resistance and dust to them, so no problems using these if you're going to be training and you're running in the rain or you're getting a little bit of sweat on them. That's not going to be an issue for them there at all. And the other with them is the capacitive touch control. So I have noticed that occasionally I have to go and repeat. So I'll tap and hello. Oh, and now it works, okay? So you have to do that sometimes. And that is a very typical there when it comes to the capacitive touch controls out of all of the audio tech that I review. That occasionally does happen. Microphone quality, as they pointed out from that sample, I think it's all right. It sounds a little muffled. It could be a little clearer there. So it's just a minor complaint or two from me. But otherwise, for the price point, selling for about or under $50 US, these are excellent. I really like what they have on offer, especially giving us that more high-end premium feature of being able to use the LDAC codec. So these here are the Earfun Air 2s. Thanks a lot for watching this review.